Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Monday, April 7th, 2025, 4-7 in the time of number 47, whose tariffs are terrorizing the markets of the world. And of course, all the economic terrorism is being executed perfectly by a numerical code, the same code that's used every day to control markets, to control media, to control the information that's reaching your mind. And look how perfect it is today. Just look how perfect it is. We've been talking about this pattern of 97, the 25th prime number in 2025, April 7th, the 97th day of the Gregorian calendar year. Again, the calendar that came from the Catholic Church and the Jesuit priest Christopher Clavius. But look at both of these stories today. These were the first two markets to finish up the day because the East is ahead of the rest of the world. Hong Kong's index closed down 13.2%, and they're saying that's the worst day in their market since 97. And then it says Taiwan's market finished 9.7% lower, okay? 9.7% lower, and the worst day since 97 on the 97th day of the year. Meanwhile, in March Madness, you got the 97 University of Houston on this miracle run with an incredible comeback that couldn't have been scripted any better against Duke. We'll come back to that. But again, just how precise it is, how perfect it is. And about Hong Kong's index closing down 13.2% for their worst day in 97. Remember, 132 rooms in the White House. In Gematria, United States of America equals 132, like Catholic Church, like Roman Catholic, like how the first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice died on 13-2, like how this country, the U.S., was named 132 days from the establishment of the Illuminati, which was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, like how the term split term equates to 132, and the last split term president took office 132 years ago, and he made very poor economic decisions that caused a major downturn for the U.S. economy 132 years ago. I haven't studied how that impacted other nations' economies. We should go back and look at that too, but the world has become a lot more connected as this new world order has grown. So, yeah, that's just the starting point. And again, these are major league coincidences every day, if that's what you think they are. Oh, well, numbers just find patterns. That's what numbers do. So if you're out there looking for the patterns, you're going to connect. I get tired of people saying crap like this. It's being put right in front of your face every day. The thing is, the average person isn't going to think once in the day that today's the 97th day of the year. It's not even going to cross their brain. The average person, if I asked them, April 7th is which day of the calendar year, they wouldn't even be able to figure it out. Math skills are so poor, wouldn't be able to add up 3 months and 7 days into the fourth month. Be beyond their comprehension and ability. But yes, 9.7% and the worst day since 97 for the 97th day of the year. And don't forget, 97 is the 25th prime number, and Trump equals 25 like felon, and the U.S. gets its first felon president in 2025. And Trump started with, I'm going to do 25% tariffs on everything, including steel. And he said that on Andrew Carnegie's birthday, November 25th. Of course, some places got more tariffs than that, as we've been covering. But yeah, this was all predicted literally on this channel 4 years ago, because we knew that they would repeat the history of Grover Cleveland. All right. Now, let's take it to the top here. Let's take it to the top, because the other thing that's funny is the European Union's ready to negotiate with number 47 on 4-7. And of course, 47 is a very special number. It's way bigger than tariffs and Trump. But also, the first nation to meet with Trump is going to be Israel, the nation that the U.S. overwhelmingly supports with tax dollars, the nation that largely exists because of the United States, the nation that's clearly controlled by the Jesuits, just like the U.S. is controlled by the Jesuits, just like, of course, Europe is controlled by the Jesuits. Again, the world is a stage, and all of these things are being managed, and these events truly benefit the people at the top while hurting common people day after day. But about Israel and Netanyahu being the first to meet with the U.S. over the tariffs, Don't forget, the United Nations recognized Israel as a nation in 47, on September 3rd, 47. Of course, it officially became a nation May 14th, 48, in a truly Catholic ritual. Majority of the world writes that date 14/5, like there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. And of course, in Gematria, Catholic equals 145. But 47, and here we are on 47. And again, if you're new here, Trump equals 47, like tariffs, like government, like authority, like president, like White House, like Republican, like Democrat, like Vatican, like Francis, like DC, like news. Again, like how the U.S.'s birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month, like how the cornerstone was laid for DC on a 47 date numerology back in the time of George Washington. George Washington, who oversaw the nation's first tariff legislation on the 4th of July. Way back in 1789, as we covered over the weekend, perfectly synced with the establishment of Jesuit Georgetown. But yeah, I just want to remind that Trump imposed his first tariffs here in his second term as president exactly 47 weeks from the anniversary of the publishing of The Wealth of Nations, written by Adam Smith, the father of economics, who wrote extensively about why tariffs are destructive and can lead to wars between nations. Of course, Trump did this whole trade war ritual by the numbers, which is clearly illustrated with the numbers they have going between the U.S. and China. 54% tariffs on both nations when Jesuit order equals 54, like trade war. But again, exactly 47 weeks, tariffs 47 like Trump. And again, 25% tariffs initially, Trump and Pope 25. And it was literally on the 47th day of the Pope's age that Trump did that. So again, I mean, just another very powerful example of what is 47. And of course, the license plate behind me that says what is 47 has been up there for years. And since even before that license plate was up there, I've been explaining what is 47 for a very long time. It's a high ritual number of the authorities that literally rule over this world. The Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. The number traces back to the absolute center of authority, the Vatican. Don't forget, we just had the first ever Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday, and there were 47 points in the game. The score was 25-47, like Vatican equals 25 and 47. Pope equals 25. Francis, the first Jesuit Pope, 47. France alone, 47, where the Jesuits were created. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad that the world still somehow doesn't know about the cabal. And by the way, I should have put that up there. The cabal equals 47. And again, they call themselves the cabal because they're based in Kabbalah, where this whole thing of letters and numbers and dates comes from. These are Kabbalistic rituals by the ruling class. Again, if you know the history of the cabal, they say the Templars brought back the sacred knowledge. And remember, the Templars used Al-Aqsa Mosque as their headquarters and called it Solomon's Temple. That's where modern-day Israel is. And the reason they put modern-day Israel there is because of the history of the Templars. But the Templars brought back this knowledge from the Holy Lands, brought it back to the church. It spread across the European ruling class, and the term the Cabal was born. And again, it's pretty much been the same type of ritualism over and over and over. And again, they do this because there's a belief system that this is how God operates. And again, they are playing God. And don't forget other things, just like how banks, the plural's 47, and from the Federal Reserve being established to the banks for the Federal Reserve opening was exactly 47 weeks later. And silver, periodic table, you know where silver is on the periodic table, right? Silver is the 47th element. Silver is money. Money. Again, biblical, right? Jesus sold out for 37 pieces, or did I say 37? 30 pieces of silver. His ministry began at 30. And by the way, just with regards to 47 and authority, it's also encoded in the word Christianity. In God we trust on the money. Everything 47 in this nation. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the most blatant 47 rituals of all time. And just about those pesky Jesuits, when Trump got cold feet on the tariffs, again, that was on the 34th day of the year. You run it forwards, tariffs is 34 instead of 47. Been a lot of 34 rituals too. And we got cold feet. It was 201 days from the Adam Smith death anniversary. Again, the Jesuit Order 177 and 201s. They're the ones that gave us the calendar, the language, and are behind the rituals. Just to read some of today's reporting on what's going on with the markets, which have been a total roller coaster in the U.S. I mean, you can see it here. Went way down this morning, skyrocketed way up like crazy in a short period of time, then came crashing way back down, up, down, up, down. We'll see where it finishes at the end of the day. I still have the idea that, this order out of chaos is going to take the market to 34K, and we'll see what it goes from there. I mean, it could skyrocket back up. Again, this is a game being played with the people, and the people who control the game, they make a lot of money on the way down and on the way up. So, again, just imagine the people that rigged the game. How much money do you think was made by the ruling class here when the market hit this bottom this morning and skyrocket like this? Sell low, buy high. You watch these traders on YouTube, guys who have a lot of money, and they look for their little patterns, and they'll throw in, their 500,000 at the market for just seconds, and then as long as they've timed it right, they can make $50,000 in 10 seconds. Time it wrong, you can lose all 500,000. But again, the point is, people with money who know how to play the game, who are rigging the game, can make literally millions of dollars in seconds, while the average American who's been trained to just ride it out, right now a guy who had $400,000 in the market, he's watching his retirement nest egg, is probably down to around 350 right now in a matter of days. So, and then he's also hearing rumors that Social Security might get cut, reduced. God, my nest egg's down. My Social Security might be out. My health insurance, And again, you guys, I mean, the warnings were there for this entire generation too, that everything going on was corrupt and wrong and a Ponzi scheme and all these crazy debts, and the U.S., playing world police all over and starting needless war and sending money to this nation. And it's like, who does this? I mean, imagine a household being way in debt, and they're like, you know what we're going to do? Take out a loan and send it over to this country that has God knows what to do with the U.S., 20,000 miles away. But that's what we do over here in the U.S., so. But here, just come back to a little bit of this reading. Come back to a little bit of this reading. This is the stock market's worst start to a presidential term in modern history. Remember, Trump was running during the time of House of Cards. Again, for anyone who didn't hear what I kept saying over and over at the start of the year, that they're going to bring the market down. If you left your money in the market, don't lose your head over it. If you're a young person and it's the ride it out thing, you know what the market does over time. It goes down and it comes up. And I have no doubt. Part of the reason the market's always going up too is because the Fed pumps money into it and it keeps up with inflation. And again, I mean, if you're my age, you're younger, and you're not planning on pulling out your money till you're 60 anyway, again, don't let this ruin your day. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, I took my money out. I'm invested in several different companies. I took money out about a month ago and put it into, what do they call it? A market grade bond, which had a little bit higher than 7% interest rate at the time. And that'll come down if interest rates come down. But I just thought that was a lot smarter call than riding out the market. All the writing was on the wall for the market to come down. And again, that's the value of this knowledge too. It helped a lot of people save a lot of money in 2020 before this scandemic even came around. I was preaching why the market was going to go down in 2020 based on Trump and the hit show House of Cards. And I remember people all the time, man, Zach, you saved me so much money. The thing is, though, if you didn't get your money back in when the market skyrocketed back up, you could have missed out on that too. So again, that's the thing about if you stayed in the market and you're watching all your stuff go down right now, the markets go up and down. At some point, it'll go up, and over time, it does stay on the up. And the one thing you could hope for if you didn't get your money out is, that this down period is relatively short, and it flies back up like it did in the time of Cooties 19. If they come to some kind of world trade agreement that the U.S. stands to benefit from, and Trump's looking like the top tarot card again, it could be a momentary major swing down before a rocket shot back up. That's the best case scenario. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm just saying for anyone out there who's devastated right now, should have been listening earlier. But at the same time, like I said, don't lose your head over it because markets do rise and fall. Anyway, President Donald Trump warned Americans in 2024 that a vote for Vice President Kamala Harris would be a vote for a market meltdown. And again, this is how politics always is. You vote for these clowns. They almost always do the exact opposite of what they say they will do. And that goes for both parties. I mean, that is just as true can be. And I don't know how any dummy continues to support either of these parties. Anyone who's so adamant that one party's better than the other, you got to be stupid. And I will point out, though, that in the 21st century, the Republicans have easily been the worst party for the world because 9/11 happened under Republicans. Cooties 19 happened under Republicans. This right now is happening under Republicans. They seem to oversee the very worst of things. And if you don't see that, you are blind. Anyway, you want to see a market crash? If we lost this election, I think the market would go down the tubes, Trump said in a Pennsylvania rally in late October. And imagine if he wasn't the president right now. Just imagine how he'd be on social media. And again, just imagine how his legion of dumb followers would be too. And that's the problem when you're invested in these fraudulent parties. It makes you a fraud yourself. You got to lie to yourself to support these people. Anyway, weeks earlier, Trump confidently predicted that if he lost, the result will be a Kamala economic crash, a 1929 style depression. Trump won the election, but he may have been right about a crash occurring after the election. Trump and his tariffs. Oh, by the way, that's the thing too. The bull market officially ended today. I had this up on my post up on my page before the market opened today. The bull market officially ended today on 4/7 and transitioned to a bear market. The market has to fall 20% or more from its top to become bear. So that threshold was officially crossed today on 4/7. And then the other thing is the people that are the trust of the plan people. There's a rumor on the Trump side for all the Trumpians that Trump is purposely crashing the market to get interest rates drastically cut by the Fed. And I would love to see that personally. That would be very helpful to me. I do hope that's the plan. But rate cut is 47. So we'll see. We'll see if that does happen. And notice how rate cut's also 88, 25, and 47, just like the Trump. Trump's got those same numbers. But we'll see. We'll see if the market continues to tank, if they got to come out and cut the rate drastically. I would love to see that personally. But yeah, again, just how perfect it all is. The bull market officially ends on 4/7. You think that's an accident? No, that's a totally controlled market. By the way, today's date numerology is 11, right? The date numerology today is 11. It's 4/7. The bull market officially ends on 4/7. And again, for anyone out there who like, how could it be this? How could it be this rigged? So many people have their money in the market. Yeah, a lot of people have their money in the market. Very few people have so much money in the market that they control almost the whole thing. So very few people have the levers to pretty much the entire market. Everybody else is just along for the ride. And the other thing I would argue too is our economy is so fake and so controlled, and I think fake is the word. There's no proof there's any gold in Fort Knox. Remember that standard ended on the Jesuit order's birthday long ago in the time of Tricky Dicky. Again, I think we live in a numbers matrix where just everything is like literally made up and controlled each day by the ritual. But the consequences are real. I mean, we still have this printed fiat currency, and we need it to pay bills and feed ourselves. So the system is fake, but the fiat currency still does have a usefulness to us at this point. But yeah, just in terms of anything being real behind it, any real economics being behind it, I don't think so. I think the whole thing is completely contrived and manipulated. And that's how everything's so perfect every day. Worst day since 97, down 9.7%. It's all that controlled. And you can prove that every day. You remember when the Dow Jones hit 39,000 for the first time ever, and it was exactly 39 weeks after the anniversary of it being established, exactly on the nose. And there's been so many things like this. It's like, and I remember I told you guys the market was below 33K in October 2023, and I said it's going to be at 33,000 in October and probably by the end of October. And you might recall at the beginning of October, it hit 33K and then it fell way down. And then in the last days of October, just shot up like a missile and went back up over 33K to close out October. So many things like this over and over. So October's 33 and 39, just like Dow Jones and just like New York for the record. And New York's, do you see how all four of these numbers in New York are like October? And depending on what happens this year, if things stayed down throughout the year with the whole tariff chaos, if they can't reach a deal and it stays turmoil and low all year, we'll have to pay attention to what happens when October rolls around. It could be the month of the upswing. Hold on. Let's measure again when it is 47 weeks from Trump imposing his first tariffs. They were February 1st in the big 47 ritual. What's 47 weeks? That's 280 days plus 49, 329 days. 329 days. So February 1st is the 32nd day. So that's the 361st day of the year if I'm doing right, which must be what, December 27th? Yeah, okay, so right after Christmas. Well, I mean, depending on what happens between now and then, if you have some kind of great agreement between nations that somehow is beneficial to American business, that's the time of year when everyone's buying for the very Catholic Sol Invictus, aka Son of God Day, Christmas. I mean, maybe Christian 47. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Right after Christmas, it's 47 weeks. Or if they can't bring it together, it could be a whole new low. I've been saying I think 34 is the bottom. The worst case scenario is that 25K is the bottom. The 25% in Trump, that's that. See, I was telling my dad that, because, my dad's one of these people that doesn't have a whole lot of money in the investment. My dad listens to his advisor, though. I was telling him in the air that I expect the market to go down quite a bit. But his advisor is always telling him, just ride it out. Just stay in there. Just stay in there. The game is just staying in there. My dad should have done the bonds thing like I did. Anyway. Coming back to this. Trump and his tariffs have taken a bull stock market and are on the precipice of turning it into a bear. This was before the market opened today. Right here. I mean, I posted this before the market opened. The experts are saying the market will likely become a bear market, meaning it drops 20% from its top today, April 7th to 1st, due to number 47, Donald Trump. Thus, the bull market would end on this day for the time being. Bull 47, and they want the rate cut. Anyway, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Okay. Trump and his tariffs have taken a bull stock market, are on the precipice of turning it into a bear faster than any president has overseen in modern history. If the stock market closes in bear territory, by the way, a drop here. Look at this, you guys. The date numerology today. I said it's 11, which is true. There's different paths for date numerology, right? So one path today is just adding every digit, just digit 4 digits. So it's April 7th, 2025. So 4 plus 7 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 20. So again, has to drop 20% or more. Today's got a 20 date numerology, which would break down to 2. Another path is 4 plus 7 plus 20 plus 25, which is 56. 56 breaks down to 11. So I got the 11 today as well. Like bull is also 11. Yeah, just again, numerology, gematria, paying attention to the numbers. The games are rigged this way. The market's rigged this way. I mean, harder to get a more clear example today. It would be the earliest in a new administration a bull market has turned into a bear in history of the S&P 500, which dates back to 57. You know what's funny? That was 68 years ago. Look at this, you guys. 68 years ago. Today's 68 days before Trump's birthday. Market 68, right? Market 68, stock 68, Donald John Trump 68. A lot of people that work in the market go back and forth between the CIA 68. Today is 68 days before Trump's birthday. His birthday is June 14th. Yeah, how perfect. These same tariffs may also take a booming economy and turn it into a recession. The S&P 500 had lost 15% of its value since inauguration day as of Sunday night, and that doesn't even count the massive losses set for Monday's opening bell. The only similar drop for an elected president so quickly into presidency was under George W. Bush in 2001. Those Republicans are good for your money, aren't they? The next largest drop after Bush and Trump was Carter in early 77. They're like, see, he was a Democrat. That decline was under 6% to give you an idea of just how far the rabbit hole the market it is in. To give you an idea of just how far the rabbit hole the market is right now. Okay. The current market wipeout hit a crescendo after Trump's Liberation Day event, liberating you from your wallet, where he shocked and alarmed the business world by promising to increase tariffs at an unprecedented pace. Indeed, 2/3 of the 15% fall in the S&P 500 has been since Liberation Day. Liberation Day has been followed by annihilation days in the stock market, Ed Yardeni of Yardeni Research wrote in a note to clients on Sunday. The awfulness of the past 2 days of trading were matched only by the 1987 crash, the 2008 financial crisis, and the COVID crash of 2020. That was 38 years ago. DC, the city on the 38th parallel. Of course, the recent market plunge alone isn't all that's unique about current situation. What was happening before the plunge makes it particularly special. Bush took office with a market that was already in decline. As you read this article, it might be hard for some of you to remember or imagine that there was a stock market crash related to the internet. Remember, the dot-com crash was by the numbers too. The bursting of the dot-com bubble plunged the cause. The bursting of the dot-com bubble plunged the caused the. Who is writing these articles? Like, how many typos are there already in the article? Are these articles written by AI? The bursting of the dot-com bubble plunged the caused the S&P 5. It should say that, right? The bursting of the dot-com bubble plunged. It's all kinds of messed up. Plunged the cause the S&P 500 by the drop. For anyone out there is like, why is he reading so poorly? It's because the article is written so horribly. The cause the S&P 500 by the drop 10% in 2000. It would therefore be tough to say that Bush was responsible for the poor state of the market in April of 2001. Trump, on the other hand, inherited a bull market. The S&P 500 gained 23% in 2024. Indeed, it's quite easy to say that Trump is directly responsible for the dive under his presidency, given how much of it occurred since Liberation Day. We should note that the 15% drop under Trump in the S&P 500 does not qualify as a bear market yet. A bear market would be by most definitions require a drop of 20% from a recent peak. The NASDAQ already crossed that threshold, however, closing in a bear market on Friday for the first time since 2022. The Russell 2000 is in a bear market too. An economy in decline. Of course, there is the matter of whether what happens on Wall Street affects or is at least representative of the larger economy. The answer to the first part of that sentence is probably yes, while the answer to the second part could very well be yes, too. Although some Trump officials have argued they are trying to help Main Street, even if it hurts Wall Street, it's not easy to separate the two. This isn't the early 1970s anymore when polling indicated that less than 25% of Americans were involved in the stock market. Those were the days before IRAs and 401ks. As of 2024, more than 3 in 5 Americans were involved in the market in some way per Gallup. Wall Street is Main Street, Yardeni said. The two streets prosper and suffer together, and Main Street owns lots of stocks in American corporations that are facing massive disruptions as a result of Trump Tariffs 2.0. Moreover, David Kotzak, co-founder of Cumberland Advisors, warned the Trump tariffs will act as a massive supply shock akin to the 1973/74 oil price shock during the Yom Kippur War. Remember, that thing has a lot of parallels to what's going on in Israel right now. The Trump tariffs are a massive tax hike imposed as a sales tax on American consumers. That's exactly what they are, Kotak said. Supply shocks mean higher inflation, coupled with slow growth or recession, which is the worst of all worlds for the central bank. While there isn't one universally agreed upon definition of a recession, take a look at these odds. JP Morgan has raised the chance of a recession to 60%. Remember, Donald Trump equals 60. This was the 60th election. It had previously been 40%. I forget, JP Morgan was the guy that got off the Titanic. where all the people opposed to the central bank died and sank. And don't forget, what happened with the Titanic was literally written about in a book a decade earlier called Futility, Wreck of the Titan, meaning it was planned. If you don't know about that, look into it. The book is about a ship called the Titan that sinks on its first sail, traveling from Europe to the U.S. after hitting an iceberg. Of course, it was a big Jesuit ritual. Lincoln would get shot later in history on the same day. It had previously been, or hold on. Wait a minute. No, it's backwards. Lincoln was shot on the same day earlier in history. It's going back to the future there. Anyway, the last time real GDP had 2 consecutive negative quarters in the first year of an elected presidency after not having a recession the year before, 1953, as the United States was coming out of the Korean War. Remember, wars often can turn things around. A lot of money can be made off the most evil things in this world. But, yeah, I think those were the main points I wanted to hit right now. Just another classic example of what is 47 and more definitive proof that this is all one big planned ritual. So, yeah, in Jekyll Island, where the Federal Reserve was planned. Yeah, there's a book written about that. You know, I saw that the Trump administration imposed tariffs on an island that is only inhabited by penguins. I didn't decode that, but I guarantee there's a definite joke behind that. Yeah, that's one of the things that's trending right now. These tariffs were so incompetent, they imposed them on an island where no people live. Yeah, indeed, Marty. Sounds like it's right out of 1984. The degradation of language can lead to the erosion of truth and the manipulation of thought, ultimately facilitating totalitarian control. Well said, bruh. All right. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. I'll probably be back later today. I suspect it's going to be a busy day in the news. But those were the main points I wanted to hit for now. So thank you again to thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share. And until next time, Truth Seeker.